As I've been introduced, my name's Mark Gabbott. I'm Professor of Marketing from my daytime job, Executive Dean of the Faculty of Business and Economics here at Macquarie. And in real terms, what that means is everything that goes on in the faculty eventually comes across my desk. Everything from programs to staff, research, resources, operations, the buildings, just about everything. Now, I've been working here in Australia and overseas in higher education in universities, a number of universities for over 30 years. And I've seen quite a few dramatic changes to the way in which we teach business. I remember the days of chalkboards. I remember actually using a chalkboard. That's no longer the case anymore. We're very high tech, we're very up to date and very contemporary in how we approach business education. But the one thing that hasn't changed is that a degree in business, in whatever format, and I'll talk a little bit about that tonight, will provide a passport or a gateway to probably the widest range of careers that you can think of. We know, for instance, that our graduates are employed in mining, in education, technology, professional services and consulting, transport, community development, the arts, security, manufacturing, and indeed a very large number of public institutions, local government, state and federal government, and their agencies are also looking for graduates with business skills to revolutionise and change the culture inside the public service. So for me, I think a sound knowledge of business is a precursor to a very successful career, and I'm hoping that I can convince you that's exactly what you should be doing as well. Now, I know that listening to someone talk at you for a period of time after a very long day can be somewhat daunting. So for those of you who want to zone out, I'm going to only concentrate on three key messages tonight. So the first is what the faculty is about. That is, for many of you, a faculty is a bit of a mysterious beast, so I want to tell you what we do. Second, I want to give you a kind of a really simple, basic guide to the kinds of business degrees which are out there. That's not just from Macquarie, it's across the country, and actually probably across most of the global environment as well. So there are three types, it's pretty easy to spot them, and then having done that, I want to talk a little bit about why Macquarie is different and some of the value adds and the value propositions that we put in terms of the degrees that you'll study here. So for those of you who are ready to zone out, now's the time. So what we do, a faculty like mine is a very large and complex organisational unit comprising academic staff who teach and research, support and professional staff, as well as a whole range of professionals who operate in marketing and finance and HR. We have three strategic platforms. The first of these is around our reputation. So constantly, we're looking to improve our reputation across the board. We do that mainly through our investment in research. And while research might also seem somewhat mysterious to you, it is essentially the process through which we re-energize the things that we teach. But that's not just a local phenomena. We also use research to contribute towards the knowledge creation inside Australia to benefit the economy and also the wider global environment. So academic research isn't just academic. It moves straight through into the practice of organisations and governments. It influences policy, changes the way organisations operate, and that's what distinguishes a university from any other form of higher education, that the people who will be teaching you are involved in the creation of that new knowledge. It ensures that we provide programs that are up to date and challenging and go way beyond just the description of things which are happening. And we pride ourselves in putting our research to work inside the classroom. The second thing we're committed to is being relevant, not just to business, but also to the wider community and to our students. We do this by involving business leaders and experts in a whole variety of different ways to help ensure that we reflect current and future business practice. We've got business leaders involved through our advisory boards to help us chart new developments and new study areas, some of which you'll be hearing about tonight, to review our curriculum, make sure it's up to date, and also to make sure that the faculty has a weather eye upon the 5-year horizon, which is actually shortening down to 3 years, to make sure we remain relevant to our stakeholder groups. We employ over 400 practicing business professionals who operate inside our classrooms. They are the people that you will meet. They know what they're talking about, and they're mixed in with the academics to make a really truly enlivening educational experience for you. The other thing about relevance is accreditations, and we've spent a lot of time ensuring that our degree programs are accredited by the main professional organisations. I don't think there's any university in the country that has as many accreditations as we do. And I think we were the first in the country to get the Australian Marketing Institute's accreditation for our degree program. Now, that might seem like a whole lot of brand names that you can pick off a web, but in fact there is quite a complex process to go through to get these accreditations, both in terms of what we teach and how we teach and the performance of students once we have taught them. All of those feed into the accreditation process, and that's why we're extremely proud of the accreditations that we have, and that also makes sure that we stay up to date, because if we didn't, the professional associations just wouldn't let us use their logos and they would withdraw their accreditation. And that's a guarantee that you can look for when you're looking at the process of choosing a degree program. Many of the accreditations also come with a guarantee of membership. So our degrees are structured in such a way that you can automatically qualify for membership of many of the professional associations. So particularly in accounting, but also in actuarial studies and in finance, also elements of marketing as well. So this is also something that can benefit you in terms of your entry into the working environment. The third thing we do is we're committed to protecting our resilience, and that may seem a somewhat esoteric idea, but essentially a faculty like mine is a very large beast, and we have to make sure that we're constantly on the ball in terms of innovation. The higher education sector right now is one of the most dynamic and volatile sectors of the economy. Although we're the second largest exporter by value for Australia, we get very little attention from federal government because we're not really politically that important. But nevertheless, to maintain that position, we have to make sure that we innovate and we present to the markets in such a way that we're seen to be the best in the world. That's the only way that we can survive. So our innovation drifts through our curriculum, the way in which you will study, the technology, the environment, also the training of staff, and we never rest upon our laurels. We're constantly, and I'm constantly urging my colleagues and the leaders of the faculty to constantly change and think about ways of doing things better. So together, those three things are what underpins what we do. Now the next point, that is the second point I wanted to talk about, was the business degrees. Now, I've looked across the major business degrees. I do so constantly, and I find it absolutely confusing and daunting when I look at the wide variety of different degree programs and options available to you. Many people have commented that the 21st century is an abundance of choice, and that's certainly true in choosing a degree program. So let me try and decode this a little bit for you. So, there are three main types of business degrees on offer. And I've called the first one the classic business degree. This is usually called a BCom degree, although some universities will tag it as a BBiz degree as well. Now this degree provides qualification in the main business disciplines and usually combines some sort of constrained study program that feeds you into a number of professional areas of study. And these areas or opportunities for electives may be constructed to add to that degree title something like finance or human resources or marketing. So Taylor's studying Bachelor of Commerce, brackets, marketing. That means she will do the basic business degree and have a specialism in marketing to study a sequence of marketing units. Now these BCom classics will be combined in many cases with other degrees as a basis for double degrees. By way of information, the Bachelor of Commerce in my faculty is the largest and most popular program in the university. That gives you some idea of the scale of this operation. Now the second type of degree is what I've termed a custom fit degree. Now this is much less constrained. Many institutions will offer it either as a Bachelor of Business Administration or a Bachelor of Business Studies, but essentially the customised bit allows you to pick and choose with a wide variety of electives and units to study pretty much what you want to study. There'll be a very small core of constrained units which will teach you the business basics, and then you do a wide variety of elective units. There's generally not the opportunity to put a specialism next to it. It provides you with a broad education, and in many cases you can think of it much like a basic MBA degree. That is, you choose how you construct it. It's a bit like a custom fit, and you choose what it is you study and how you can tailor it towards your career ambitions. The third type of business degree is a specialist degree, and this is particularly relevant if you want to enter a particular career path. And they're usually focused on a particular job or role or profession. So that might be a Bachelor of Economics, for instance, or a Bachelor of Actuarial Studies, a Bachelor of Applied Finance, a Bachelor of Accounting, and so on. And these are usually quite constrained because the professional associations require us to teach you certain things that they think are relevant to your role as a professional. Now, at Macquarie, like many other universities around New South Wales and across the country, we offer all three major types of degree, and you'll see that within our portfolio. So if you're looking to enter a profession or a career, look for a specialist degree. If you really aren't sure what you want to study but know business generally, then you might want to think about a BBA at Macquarie. And if you want a good grounding of fundamentals but you also want some specialism, that is, you know roughly what area of business you want to specialise in, then probably the classic, the BCom with a specialised tag is the way to go. So, 2.3, what makes us different? Now, the reason for describing these three broad degree types is essentially to reassure you that the degree programs themselves of the main research-intensive universities are fairly similar. And you'll probably find that by looking across the content across the web. They will all vary in terms of sequence. They'll vary in terms of the names of the units, sometimes the titles of the degrees, and sometimes they have other additional specialisms. But essentially, the issue for you is not necessarily what you will study, because they generally cover the same stuff, but the environment in which you study, how you study, and the support associated with your study. Those are the things which make the difference in terms of success. Now, it used to be the case in business education that content was king, but as you can imagine, with the rise of the net and the exchange of information and access to information, content these days is pretty much available to everybody. So universities have to pride themselves not only in choosing the very best content, and they do that by adding to it with their own research activity. That's why research universities are much better than non-research universities, but they also allow you to think about issues associated with the development of employer-based skills, but also the experience of learning and the environment and education and infrastructure which they use to provide the content. And that's where most of the value propositions exist. So, another component which we pride ourselves on is pushing a little bit further down the more generic skills route. That is, in feedback from our employers, and Lee will talk about this in a few minutes, we've developed a number of units and study areas which talk to the things you'll need to work. And that is things like communication, working in teams, innovation, implementing strategy, all the general skills that employers are looking for, which we need to make sure you have in addition to the skills that you study in relation to your degree or specialist area. Now, at Macquarie, we build these around your degree in a variety of different ways because we believe these are things which make a difference when you graduate, and certainly, as Taylor alluded to, the employability of our graduates is incredibly high. And just for those of you who are parents here, you might want to cover your ears because the starting salaries of graduates is in the 65 to 95,000 a year range. That's the first year. Just to give you some sense of it. I also picked off, just before I came over tonight, where our current graduates are, to give you some sense of the employers. So we currently, this is via the LinkedIn data, currently have 424 Commonwealth Bank employees, That's nearly 500 of our students working for Commonwealth Bank. Westpac, Macquarie Group, National Australia Bank, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ernst & Young, IBM, ANZ, Telstra, Optus, Suncor, Woolworths, Deloitte, AMP, Accenture, HSBC, BT, Hewlett-Packard, and on it goes. So these are some of the major employers in Australia, and they don't take on graduates that they're not sure of, nor do they take on people who are not rounded or well educated. So again, the issue here and the proof is in terms of the employment outcomes for our students. So these are the things we do to help you stay abreast of things. First of all, we ensure you study outside your discipline area. And Taylor has referred to the people, planet and participation, which is threaded through all of our degrees here at Macquarie. It's no good being a great economist if you can't understand how to manage people or read a balance sheet. So this is one area in which we focus on to make sure that your business degree really will help you in whatever stream or whatever thread of career you follow. We ensure that you have access to good internship opportunities for work experience. Most of the students, if not all, will undertake some kind of work experience or internship. We believe that's a really important part of their education, and also helps you to round off your knowledge base and ensure that you have good employment opportunities. For those with very high ATARs, we have a Merit Scholars program where we put this particular cohort of students into a special enhanced program to include leadership workshops, weekend events, personal development programs, and you're challenged in a whole lot of different ways using our partner Deloitte to put together leadership programs specifically tailored for you. We would certainly offer a number of double degrees, which allow you to customise your degree by studying 2 degrees at the same time over a 4-year period, and they reflect many of the current employment trends in the economy. So recently we launched a Bachelor of Marketing and Media, a Bachelor of Commerce and Bachelor of Psychology, Bachelor of Applied Finance, Bachelor of Actuarial Studies. So the double degrees can also be a way in which you can ensure that you cover the main business disciplines of interest to you, but also of interest to potential employers. And all of these local opportunities are matched by the opportunity to study abroad. You're able to study overseas for 6 months at least, with the units that you study overseas counting towards your degree here at Macquarie. And also the university help you to pay for the cost of that overseas study as well. So it's not a bad deal if you want to travel somewhere. And I can tell you the queue of students wanting to go to Hawaii, Rome, Paris and London gets no shorter year by year. So overall, I would certainly encourage you to become part of this faculty community. And also to recognise the great work that the student societies and student groups do in making this a really interesting and vibrant and supportive environment for students. The great thing about a single campus, and this is one of the reasons why I came here, is that everyone comes here. This is a real community port. This is where everybody comes. There's no question about multiple places or multiple campuses or travelling between. This is the place to come, and I hope you had the opportunity this evening just to get some sense of the environment in which you will study, because it is actually amazingly wonderful. So that's really all I wanted to say for this evening. Macquarie is a university which is a new university. Some say it's not really a university because it's not in the group of 8. I can tell you that we outrank many of the group of 8. We're ranked 4th in the country, which is well above. We're ranked as the #1 university in Australia under 50 years old. We have aspirations to move even further beyond that, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here, and I think I speak on behalf of all of the academic and professional staff here that our intention is to make this university the best, the very best in the country, and we'll continue to strive to do that. So I know there are other presenters to talk to you this evening, and I'm sure you've probably heard enough from me. We have advisors on hand to answer technical questions, which I hope that you'll make use of. And make sure you interrogate us. I do know this is a really, really important choice. It's important for you as a potential student. It's important for your parents, your friends, your family. It's important because it helps you and will indicate to you the kinds of opportunities and career outcomes that you'll have accessible to you in the future. So anyway, thank you very much for coming. Thanks for attending. Thanks for listening. For those of you who did zone out, it's time to wake up. And I look forward to welcome you at some point in the future, I hope, to Macquarie University. So have a good evening.